You're listening to 91 Reasons.
Now, also on the program, we have a nitwit named Jeff Tucker. He's 19 and he says the youth in America is doomed. Oh, come on.
Hey, welcome to the garage. I was all set up in the car to do this, but it's 1,000,000 degrees in the car. So unless I have the car running with the air on, that is not going to be possible. So we're in the garage today. This is a work in progress. So look, I mean, it looks like the Ark of the Covenant is back here, but I am working on it so that I can eventually record out here with a nice background. You know, those nerd shows always have like a bunch of toys in the background. That's what I need. I need a bunch of toys in the background instead of whatever this is. Chaos is what this is. But we'll get there. It's a work in progress. What's important is, like 91 Reasons began, you just have to do it. You have to say, I am going to do this. If I wait till the conditions are perfect every time, it ain't going to happen, because there's no such thing as perfect conditions. Instead, it's you make do with what you have. So this is what I have, but it is a work in progress. So bear with me as we're under construction here. There's a couch in here that I'm trying to get rid of, because once the couch goes, I'll have a lot more room and I can expand all my shelving and make it look real nice. But I'm stuck with this giant couch. It's a really nice couch. It's barely used. It's one of those settees like you'd see a pretty woman sipping tea while she's sitting on it. I put it in on Facebook Marketplace last week and thought, I'm going to sell this in an hour, because I put $30 on it. I just want to get rid of it. I don't care about making a lot of money on it. I just want it out. If somebody showed up and said, here's 20, I'd say, please take it, because the alternative is I'm going to put it on the street and get rid of it. I can't sell this thing. I've had, no joke, I've had 50 people email me about this couch out of 800 views so far on Facebook Marketplace, and they're all the same. Is this available? Is this available? And I always write, yes, it's available. 90% of them, that's all they want to know. Is it available? Is it available? One lady yesterday, is it available? Yes, it is. She wrote, I want it. That's all she wrote. I wrote her back and I said, well, it's available. You can come get it in Buena Park. You can come pick it up. Never heard back from her. One lady wanted to know if I would bring it to her, that in order to get rid of a $30 couch that I could put on the street and get rid of for free, she wants me to deliver it to her. I didn't ask where. I didn't care. If I had a truck, I would have taken it to the thrift store. They would gladly take it and put $150 on this thing. There's a delivery truck coming in the neighborhood. So I'm stuck with this couch. I've decided tomorrow is the day. If nobody comes and gets it, I'm just putting it on the street with a free sign. I'd rather, the $30 means nothing. I for my sanity. You know, you ever get to, like, in a project, you get to a point where you're like, okay, I am at a crossroads, and I have it. This is what we're going to do. This is the only thing blocking the way. The couch is blocking the way. I can't get rid of it. So I'm stuck, you know. I'm stuck. It's a stupid problem to have, because I know if I put the couch on the street, it's going to be gone within an hour, because there are people that just circle the whole neighborhood looking for free stuff. They wouldn't take the desk I put out a couple of weeks ago because it was really used. So I'm stuck with the desk. I'm going to have to break the desk down into pieces and put it in the trash can, because the city will come out, I think, 3 times a year for big items. And I don't want to waste it, because we're hoping to get a new couch in the house, and then I'll be able to put the old couch on the street. That's neither here nor there. My couch stories. What's better are swap meet stories, because I've given you a lot of retail stories, but I have some swap meet stories from last week that are really funny. Two incidents on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. There's a thing at the swap meet. If you've ever been in your part of the country or the world, it may be a flea market, but it's basically just an open air. People roll up, open the van, and load the stuff out onto tables or on the ground, and they sell their stuff. And there's a hierarchy of it. You can go by places where it's just piles of stuff in rows, like $1 row, $2 row, $5 row, please ask row. That's the good stuff. But then there's people that put them on tables. There's a lot of guys that have like 10 tables. They put the tables out, they put stuff on the tables, and there's a little bit of order to it, but not much. But the one dichotomy, the one way it's separated is if the good stuff's on the table, if you have bins below it. So if you have bins below it, the good stuff goes on the table because that's what you want people to look at, because that's what you think is going to sell. And you can peruse the stuff on the table just by looking at it. You can, you can pick it up and go, oh, there's a CD. Okay, how much are your CDs? Oh, they're $1 each. Okay. Ooh, how much is this phone booth bank? It's $3. Oh, I'll take that. But the stuff in the bins below, you have to dig through. You literally have to sift through it to know what's even in the bin. So there's a guy there that I buy from all the time, at least every other week. I give him $20 or $30. So it's not like I'm a stranger. Now, I am wearing a mask, so maybe he doesn't know me, but everybody knows me because everybody at the swap meet thinks I'm crazy or an idiot or stupid. And that works to my advantage because it's fine. You can think anything you want of me. But I knelt down and I was sifting through the toys because he had a whole table of toys. And I went over there and, okay, look at those. Okay, there's some stuff there. Rachel saw a couple things she might like. And, there's the bin. Let me look through the bin. So I sift through the bin and, oh my God, he leans over and he goes, hey, can you be careful with the toys? I said, yeah, okay. He goes, I know they're not your toys, but you don't care about them, but they're mine. And I was like, oh, why aren't they on the table? If this is the good stuff, it would be on the table. This is just the bin of stuff. And I wasn't being rough with it because, as you can see, I'm a pretty big toy collector. I have buckets and buckets of toys. I have toys everywhere within arm's length. There are toys everywhere. I just bought this bag of Star Trek cupcake pins. Why? I don't know, but I have them. But I was really taken aback because I'm very respectful of people's stuff. Absolutely. It's not mine. But I wasn't being rough with the toys. I was just looking, shopping. So I got up and I turned to Rachel and I said, this guy just yelled at me for looking at his toys. And she goes, oh. And she had an item and she goes, well, I don't effing want this. So we walked away. And it's weird because I don't know what he got out of yelling at me. I wasn't being rough with the toys. I would never be rough with toys. I love toys. This is what my life is, toys and collectibles. Especially paper stuff. So I'm not rough with anything. Why would you damage what you're trying to buy? But his yelling, the result is I won't even look at his stuff for like a year, 6 months to a year. There was a guy who yelled at me one time over posters, and I don't think you can see it, but I have a bin back here with about 200 vintage posters. I love vintage posters. It all started with the Heather Thomas poster had on my wall and the Star Wars posters. But now I have stacks of, there's a Generations one right there. But he goes, hey, you got to be careful with the posters. I'm like, well, yeah, they're paper. Of course you have to be careful with the posters. But I have to unroll them to see what the poster is. And I didn't buy from that guy. I bought from him like a week and a half ago, and it's been a year since he yelled at me. But he did have a display box of Dune trading cards that I had to have at a good price. But see how long it took? Like, I have money to spend. Why would you yell at the guy with money to spend? I don't understand. So I'm not going to buy from that guy for a while. I won't even look, so I don't know what I'm missing. But it felt really odd to get yelled at by a guy at the swap meet, a guy that I bought from. Oh, well. And then the other one was even funnier. There's a bunch of guys that go to swap meet every week, and I call them the frat guys because they're young, like late 20 guys. And they pull a truck up, and they have no order to their stuff. It just explodes out of the truck, and then they sit there all day sort of yucking it up and maybe selling something and maybe not selling something. They're the ones I got my my Domino's pizza truck topper, which I love. But I was at his booth. They usually get out pretty early. They leave early because they make their money and then they're out because I think they have to go, drinking. But I bought a bunch. I bought a box from them. I was opening a box, and there was a bunch of papers in it, and it was some old guy's wallet and some of his personal papers. Now, I love personal papers. You never know what you're going to find in it. Most people don't know what it is. They don't care what it is. To them, it's trash. I have literally bought what looks like boxes of trash from people. And so I put it all together, a bunch of it, and I walked over and I said, hey, how much is this? And he goes, what is it? I said, oh, it's a bunch of papers. It's like some guy's wallet or something. He goes, can I see it? I said, well, yeah, that's what I said. I said, it's yours? Of course you can. So he starts rifling through it, and he looks at me and he goes, you must see something I don't, pal. And I'm like, is that how you sell stuff? By denigrating it? That I'm an idiot for buying it? Because I'm not doing it justice. That really was what he was trying to say. So he goes, what do you give me for it? I said, I'll give you $5. You know, if you don't know what it is, you don't care, you think I'm stupid for buying it, then $5 is worth it. That's the price of a Starbucks, right? Isn't that what everybody said? It's the price of a good cup of coffee. I gave him the $5, and I walked away, and I showed Rachel, and she couldn't believe it. There was one almost complete Disneyland ticket book with A through E and multiples of each inside. There were 2 or 3 other incomplete ticket books. There was old credit cards and cards for like clubs like SeaWorld and stuff sells quick. So I sold the nearly complete ticket book for $60 the next day, and even sold the Visa card for $20. And I have other stuff from that lot that will eventually sell. I'll end up making about $200 off of that $5 purchase. But I just thought it was funny that he didn't go like, hey, you got the good stuff. How about $10? Like, wouldn't you do that? Even if you thought it was trash? Isn't that the game? Maybe the veneer dropped because he was like, you effing idiot. You want this? Give me $5. I mean, he didn't say give me $5, but his face said, give me $5. So that was my swap meet adventures for that week. We've been going, Rachel and I have been going with Austin and Josie every once in a while, nearly every week since they reopened. I think we're at a tipping point where there's simply nothing new. We've seen the same stuff for 2 or 3 weeks in a row, so we may have to give it a break before we head back so they can refresh and recharge, because Lord knows I need more stuff in this garage. Okay, so you heard about my video store score. I found a video store going out of business. The woman was selling Blu-rays for $1 and DVDs for 50 cents. So I ended up all told spending about $400 on movies at this place, and I have boxes and boxes of movies. I've already sold a few and made, I think, about 200 back just off like 5 or 6 really rare DVDs and Blu-rays, and she even had some screening copies that were sent to the video store. I mean, those are exceedingly rare because they don't do that anymore. That business is pretty much dead. But in the stacks, I've got all these movies, and I've been watching some of the weirder ones. I told you about The Skin I Live In. This was a movie called Sorry to Bother You. And I was intrigued by the premise because I didn't quite know how it was all going to mesh together. You know, because I watch a lot of movies, and I'm not afraid to watch movies that are surreal or completely off the wall, like Brazil or Baron Munchausen or Freaked, or movies that are just crazy, like Being John Malkovich, you know, where it may not make total sense, but it's weird enough to keep you interested. This one was not. I have no idea how this got made. This is one of the most bizarre attempts in surrealism I've ever seen, because the characters just do things. Nobody acts anywhere close to normal, which I guess is the point, but to the degree that I couldn't latch on to anybody. Okay, I'm going to read the synopsis really quick, because to even explain it makes no sense. Cassius Green lives in his uncle Sergio's garage with his girlfriend Detroit, an artist struggling to pay rent. He gets a job as a telemarketer for Regal View. So Cash gets a job as a telemarketer. His girlfriend Detroit, who's played by Tessa Thompson from Thor and Men in Black International, like, she's a big star. She's one of those ladies. She spins a sign on the corner like it's a big deal. It reminded me of the movie Joker, where they're all sitting in the room waiting to go out and be clowns, and he spins a thing, right? And she spins a thing, and like, that's her job. That's a job. I get it. I totally get it. But I don't think, and it wasn't clear if she actually worked for a company doing that, or if she just was doing it to have messages on her signs. Again, the movie's not real clear. It opened with a really funny joke, and the joke was so good, I was like, oh, this could be something. The guy and his girl are in bed. They wake up, and they're gonna have morning sex, and right in the middle of it, the whole wall comes up because they live in the garage, and the whole neighborhood sees them. That's really funny. That's a great way to open your movie. Unfortunately, I have no idea what happened next. He gets a job at Regal View, where he's a telemarketer, and he's not very good at it. But he is sitting next to the great Danny Glover. I love Danny Glover. I mean, Lethal Weapon, Predator 2, Color Purple. Like, he's an amazing actor. And Danny Glover tells him he's not making any sales because he needs to use his white voice. And then whenever Cassius speaks on the phone, they dub over his voice with David Cross. You know, David Cross from, like, Small Soldiers. And Danny Glover's voice, I think, is Patton Oswalt. So they have these really generic white guy voices. And the premise is they call people up and they go, "Sir, I'm sorry to bother you." Hence the title of the movie. But it's also a double meaning because the movie may have some uncomfortable message, and they're sorry to bother you with their uncomfortable message. I was never uncomfortable with it. I'm of the mind that you work hard for your money and that nothing is given free. So I don't understand these characters who drift about hoping to get some payday living. And Cassius ends up excelling in the company. At the same time, his girlfriend cannot stand that he's like a capitalist pig, and I'm oversimplifying the movie. She ends up doing an art display where she stands there while people throw things at her using her white voice. And the guy who played Glenn in Walking Dead, his name is Stephen Yeun. He shows up as an agitator who is trying to get all of the telemarketers to unionize. So there's a pro-union message to this movie where all of these telemarketers want better wages because the people who work in the penthouse get paid more, and that's the power callers. I have to write it down because I watched it like 3 weeks ago. They're power callers. So when Cassius gets a promotion, he gets taken up to the big leagues upstairs, and everybody there uses the voice all day. You must use the voice. Like, I mean, it's Eddie Murphy. I used to watch Eddie Murphy's stand-up routine, and he's like, "I'll just stick with this." I mean, it's Eddie Murphy's gag. And hey, I always say, if you're gonna steal, you steal from the best. I totally get it. But it turns out that Regal View is selling arms to other countries, and they're also running this program called Worry Free, which is indentured servitude, where you go and live at the factory, you work all day in the factory, they pay you, and you live there, and that's how you get your life. So you don't have to worry about housing. And it's like it's a thinly veiled, not thinly, it's a slam at Apple and Nike and all of the sweatshops in China that make all the goods that we use. I get it. I'm not dense enough not to get it. But Cassius is able to get a nice apartment, a nice car, a nice life, and his girlfriend's not having it because he's part of the system now. And I kind of identified with Cassius because the guy's just trying to work hard. And he doesn't understand why he has to be involved in all of this nonsense with his girlfriend. And then it turns out she's having sex with Stephen Yeun's character. So why should he even care anyways? So the movie is this real tedious examination of capitalism and getting a fair shake, which is odd to me because everybody gets a job and knows what it pays. So if you take the job knowing that what it pays, you can't then get mad at what the job pays. You didn't have to take it. Oh no, Jeff, they were free. I have no other choice. Maybe in the world of the movie, it's either work for the call center or work for Worry Free. I don't know. But there seem to be other things going on in the world of this movie. They keep watching a TV show called I Got the Shit Kicked Out of Me, which is supposed to be like a parody of reality shows. It came off weird. I know it seemed like, and this is a first-time director, and it seemed like he was really, really reaching. Like, how crazy will they let me go? And it also, and you know, this is the way a lot of movies are made, they probably smoked a lot of dope and said, you know, it would be cool if, you know, hey, this would be so cool if, and then somebody gave him a check. And hey, if you can get somebody to give you a check to make a movie about what you want to make the movie about, you should take the check. I have no problem with that. You know, Kevin Smith has made a good living off of doing that. You know, how else to explain Tusk or Yoga Hosers? These are not good movies, but somebody decided they're going to take a chance on it. So this guy, his name is Bootsy. Good for him. The problem is that it's not very good. That, you know, the problem is I was taught by somebody I really respect, do the job so well that they want to ask you back to do it again. Don't think of it as a one-off. Behave yourself, do the job well, so that when something else comes up, they go, you know who was really good? That guy. And then they hire you back. And then you have a string of projects you can do. I don't know what this guy's working on now, but this movie falls apart at the end. And part of it's not his fault, because he cast as the CEO of the company Armie Hammer. And it was startling to see Armie Hammer, because, you know, Armie Hammer's been thrown out of Hollywood. When you start texting people that you're into cannibalism and you want to eat them, you're probably going to get thrown out of the industry. And Armie Hammer was not only thrown out of the industry, but he's being edited out of the movies that he's already finished. Like Kevin Spacey, they're 86ing him. But Armie Hammer shows up as the CEO. He invites Cassius to a big party. This is his big moment. And there's a party at the house where they make Cassius rap. You know, it's supposed to be more of, I guess, racial politics. It just came off silly. And he has a meeting with, Cassius has a meeting with the Armie Hammer character, where Armie Hammer is going to give him some cocaine, they're going to snort some coke, and they're going to talk about this big opportunity. But Cassius has to go to the bathroom. So he ends up underneath the house in the catacombs looking for a bathroom. And instead, he stumbles upon, are you ready for this? Because I wasn't. Even though at the moment they showed up, I remembered them from the trailer, I had forgotten they were in the movie. He comes upon Equisapiens, which are men with horse heads. These are rubber-suited monsters. They look like Station from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, except if Station had genitals. And they're really unsettling looking. They're not a good design. They're really weird looking. And they're screaming, help me, to Cassius, who runs the hell back upstairs. And that's where the movie's final plot is laid out. And that Armie Hammer is going to turn his workforce into Equisapiens because they work harder. And the people will doing it willingly because the drug to turn you into an Equisapien will be hidden in recreational drugs or in injections that they think they have to get. And of course, Cassius has snorted some of it. And he tells him, you're going to go undercover as an Equisapien, and you're going to keep them quelled from unionizing or rioting. And Cassius is like, I can't do this. What'd you give me? And Armie Hammer's like, oh, it's going to be fine, man. It's going to be fine, man. And this is all compounded at the end where Cassius breaks the union line that they're striking finally. And he gets hit with a Coke can. They yell something at him and they hit him with a Coke can. And it becomes a viral meme video. So Cassius is somewhat famous around the world for getting hit with a Coke can. So he goes on, I got the shit kicked out of me, to warn the world about Equisapiens and tell everybody that Worry Free is an evil company. They're selling ammunition and they're ruining people's lives, and they're going to turn everybody into half man, half horse creatures called Equisapiens. Nobody believes him, and then of course he turns into one. I'm at a loss here. I don't know what to even say about this movie, except it ends with Armie Hammer sort of winning in that the Equisapiens are working hard and things are going fine, but then he's at home like eating and the Equisapiens are breaking in his house to kill him. And that's how it ends. Sorry to Bother You is a mess. It's a mess of a movie. It has, like every bad movie. It has one or two really good moments that if you plucked them out and showed them to somebody, they'd go, well, this isn't too bad. The problem is, good movies string those moments together and make a cohesive, amazing movie. This is a failure. It's a good failure. It's just not a great movie. I didn't find myself interested at all in the characters. Once the girlfriend started cheating, it's like, well, I'm done with her. Armie Hammer is this gross guy in the movie, not in real life, but sort of. I'm done with him. And Cassius, he never takes full advantage of his great position in life. Like, he's worked hard for this, using that voice, but it's all for naught. He ends up turning into a Equisapien, and maybe the director had plans for, like, because it looked a lot like a toy line called Warriors of Virtue, which is for children, and they're clothed. Armie Hammer does tell Cassius one of the benefits of being an Equisapien is the giant genitalia he'll get. What do you do with that? I mean, not literally, but that information in the movie, what do you do with that? There's people at home going, it's not bad. That is not bad. But no, this is one of those movies that about halfway through I thought, I gotta take this off. I gotta get rid of this movie. But I have a tough time doing that. I have only turned off a very small amount of movies and just said, I don't care. This was very close to it, because at some point I just didn't care, But I said to myself, if I could watch the entire skin I live in, I can watch Sorry to Bother You. And guess what, movie? You did bother me. But not in the right way. Okay, I want to talk also about necklaces. Right? Random. I have 3 necklaces here that I want to talk about in different ways. The first is this one, and I have talked about this necklace on the show before. This is my claw Dungeons & Dragons necklace with crystal in it. Or construction. And I got this at EquiCon 1986 in Burbank at the Hilton at the convention, which I went to every year after that. But the first year, my friend Eric and I decided at the last day we were going to buy matching necklaces and spend the rest of our money on it. In 1986, this was like $35. That's a lot of money. Back then, a lot of money. At the con, you could have bought anything with that money. I bought this necklace, and I used to wear it to school because we had a Dungeons & Dragons group. Of course we did. And I would wear this because I was the dungeon master leading them through the quest, and I would wear it right here, like, look at me, I have my cool dragon claw necklace made of brass and crystal. And a guy at school, I've told this story before, but I don't think I've ever shown the actual necklace. A guy that I was sitting across from in stop motion class. We had a stop motion class, and I made a little stop motion movie. This guy Rick, he wore the military jacket. He listened to heavy metal and punk music, and he was much bigger than me. And he said, "Hey Tucker, let me see your necklace." And I don't know what possessed me other than terror, but I took it off my neck and I handed it to him, and Rick goes, "Thanks, man. Now it's mine." And he put it on, and I sat through the whole class fuming like, you better give that necklace back. He didn't. He didn't give it back. He kept it for about a week. And every day at class, I would stare at it, like a jewel thief walking through the museum, like, how am I going to get that? Maybe at night while he's sleeping, I don't know. And one day after class, after about a week, I'd had enough. And I went up to Rick, out in the class ended, we went out because you can't get in an altercation in class. So I went in between classes, and I walked up and I said, "Rick," and I looked up, because he's much taller than me. I said, "Rick, I want my effing necklace back. And I don't care at this point what happens to me, whether we have a fight and you pummel me, I will get that necklace back." And he looked at me and he went, dude, and he gave the necklace back. And he couldn't believe that I had the nerve to stand up to him. I was terrified. But he gave me the necklace back, and we were friends after that for a long time. I used to design logos for him and all kinds of stuff. And later in life, he became a very successful tattoo artist. And Rachel's tattoos on her arm are done by him, who tells her the story about the necklace every time she goes in for a tattoo. But it was a life lesson, and the lesson was sometimes you do have to stand up for what you think is right, even in the face of physical harm, because he would have pummeled me into oblivion, and I would have been a bloody mess grasping for the necklace, and it probably would have made the next dungeon adventure, the quest for the necklace. So the other necklace is Star Wars related, and it is this Darth Vader hologram. Check this out. It's cool, right? Kitschy. It's Lucasfilm 1993. Actually, it says 1991. So I must have got this either late 92 or early 93. This was a company that got the license to do Star Wars holograms. Remember those kiosks in the mall where they had crazy stuff? I mean, now it's all phones and people yelling, "Hey, come here, let me rub this on your hand," or something. But there was one in Buena Park Mall that only sold holograms. It was a kitschy, fun holograms, and they weren't cheap. This necklace was probably $40 in 1992, early 93. And it looks like a Darth Vader action figure that they scanned to make the hologram. It doesn't look like art. It looks like the actual Kenner figure with maybe some augmentation. But I wanted it pretty bad. And it's hard sometimes to buy yourself dumb stuff. And this is pretty dumb, right? It's pretty, all things considered, it's pretty dumb. But I really wanted it. And I had just started dating a new girl, Rachel. And she surprised me one day. I think it might have been Easter. She bought me this necklace. And I knew what it cost. And I knew how expensive it was. And she knew how much I wanted it. And this was a weird moment in my life. A weird, weird moment. And it was a moment that said to me, relationships can be two ways. Because up until that point, none of the girls I dated, and they were all, young, because I was a young guy. They didn't have any money. But they didn't really do gifts much. I was expected to do gifts, but they really didn't do gifts. And I used to go pretty all out, because I was working, and I would buy nice gifts, but I didn't get it. And it's not about getting gifts. But the turning point was having a young girl, buy me an expensive gift. It changed the way I thought about things. It really brought me out of this hard candy shell I had put myself in. And this was the beginning of my relationship with Rachel. I mean, we've been married almost 27 years now. And this was one of the first gifts I ever got. And it just was a real weird moment to get the necklace and oh, I'm worthy of gifts. That's a weird concept. Did this come from my mom? No? It came from you? And I still have it. And I ended up buying a lot of holograms, Star Wars, from them because he had some pretty rare ones, and I sold them all because they were really valuable. This one's probably really valuable at this point. It's $40 from any vendor in the street, but I take it, I bury it in the sand for 1,000 years. It becomes valuable, priceless like the Ark. Men will kill for it. But I wouldn't sell it because it means too much, And the two sides of my life are on the same necklace, hanging on the wall next to my desk, and that's the claw that showed I could stand up and be a man, and the hologram that said I was worthy as a man of a relationship. And it's pretty cool to have so much meaning in two necklaces. So if you see these on eBay after I die, you have to yell at my children for selling them because these are very important and they need to know. Okay. The last one's amazing and fun. I've talked about my obsession with Dawn Post masks and monster stuff. I mean, every kid goes through their monster phase. I was more of a sci-fi kid, but who didn't love monsters growing up? And so when they didn't have Starlog at the store, I would pick up Fangoria. Now, Fangoria and Starlog were interchangeable. Starlog was more, much more science fiction. There was also Eerie, and I wrote them down here. creepy ear. Oh, Famous Monsters of Filmland. I loved Famous Monsters of Filmland with Forrest Ackerman. And on the back of the magazine, there was an ad. There was always an ad for something. The main ad that I loved was the Dawn Post Deluxe line. And that was the Facehugger and Nosferatu with hands. And they both came in giant plexiglass cases. They were like $400 and $500. I think the 500 was Nosferatu and 350 was the Facehugger. Now, I have a Facehugger here in this garage that I got at Comic-Con for $20. So that, the Nosferatu though, forget about it. But I was never going to afford them. And I used to stare at that and just dream like, oh man, if I had that Halloween, I would be the king of Halloween if I had that Nosferatu mask. I ended up going to Don Con, and seeing a boxed Nosferatu. And I went up to the lady, it was an official from the Dawn Post company, and I said, is this like the one from the back of the magazine? And she said, no, that is the one from the back of the magazine. We didn't sell a lot. And I was like to see it in real life was mind-blowing. Oh my God. It was so amazing. But the other thing that they had was this necklace. Genuine soil from Dracula's castle in a faux gold plastic coffin. I should say, look, it makes the coffin look gold in this, but the coffin is not gold. The serpentine, I mean, look at that 70s serpentine chain. This was one of those scams on the back of a magazine that made you believe they had dirt from Dracula's castle and you were going to get some in a necklace. Like, sure. Now, this was $10 in 1975, 76, which through the mail, no one's going to pay that for me. Plus $2 shipping and handling. My mom was never going to buy this for me. That's the price of 6 Star Wars figures at the time. It just wasn't in the cards. So, like I always do, I went looking on the internet. Like, do these still exist? And if they do, could I get one? And the first one I saw on eBay is $200. I had a heart attack. And I was like, oh man, I'm 6, 7, 8 years old again, and I still can't get dirt from Dracula's castle. It's just not going to happen. I can't afford it. Even now, I can't afford it. I'm not paying $200 for a necklace. And then I found a guy who went to an auction in the 70s when Warren Publishing was clearing out their warehouse. Warren Publishing made all the comics, all those magazines, and the necklace. And he bought a box of them. And he listed it on eBay for $60, which is not a good price, but it's much better than $200. So I looked at that thing for a week, and I was like, oh man, I really want that necklace. Oh my God. And then somebody bought it, and it was gone. And I had a heart attack. And I thought, oh, it's the rule of swap meet. The rule of swap meet, or the antique store, swap meet, thrift store. If you see it and you want it, you must buy it because it won't be there again. We live and die by that rule, the Tucker family. Anytime I'll pick something up in Him and Ha, Austin will go, if you want it, it ain't going to be here in an hour. You have to buy it now. Now, I've made some stupid purchases because of that, and I've lost out on things because of that. But this necklace, man, oh, it drove me crazy. So I wrote the guy and I said, you said you had a box of them. Do you have any more of them? Never wrote me back. But he relisted it. And I actually got dirt from Dracula's castle. Look at that. Is that the coolest thing you've ever seen? It's on the 70s gold serp. I would never wear this. I'd be terrified that it would fall off. So I'm going to make a little display on a shadow box with the necklace and the vintage ad. And it's amazing what artifacts like this make you feel. You know, all these necklaces make me feel something different. They just really do. And they're all special in their own way. You know, this is king of the heap right now because it's the new boy in town, but how cool is that? I'm never going to get a Dawn Post Nosferatu or a Dawn Post Facehugger. Those are well out of my price range. This one, for one shiny moment, was in my price range, and I didn't hesitate. And I just think it's so cool to have this weird piece of my childhood. There's a movie, I'm not sure which it is, I have to do some research. There's a Tony Danza movie where he's a shyster, and he has a box of 2 boxes of wood in his living room, and they're mailing out people, and the one guy that's helping him screws up, and Tony Danza walks over and he goes, no, you're screwing up. This is wood from the real cross, and this is wood from the real Noah's Ark. Don't mix them up. And I've never forgotten that, even though I can't for the life of me tell you the movie. But I've never forgotten that. I never forgot genuine soil from Dracula's castle. And there's old Drac himself. Now, is it from Dracula's castle? Is it from Transylvania? Probably not. The funny part is I had a dear friend named Sandy who actually went to Transylvania, and my friend Aldo went to Transylvania. And between the two of them, I do have some actual Transylvania items, including dirt from Transylvania. So I'm blessed, and I'm blessed in a lot of ways. So, hey, 91 Reasons is back. I don't know how many episodes we'll post. I took the capacity for the show way down because I have a friend who's helping me pay for it, and I felt like I was doing him a disservice having all this bandwidth and not using it. So I may be down to 1 or 2 shows a month, which is about what I'm capable of right now because I'm so darn busy. But I do love taking a moment and just sitting down and talking. I miss hanging out with people. I miss doing shows with people. I haven't had that in over a year. Those have got to come back, you know. I'm hoping I can do a birthday party somewhere and invite people over and just talk. You don't have to bring a gift. The gift is just you talking. Let's talk for an hour. And that's Elvira. Moonbathing. Another poster. All right, folks, thanks for hanging out with me. I wish I was in the car. I got a new car and I wanted to show it off, but it's just too darn hot. I'm afraid you're just too darn loud, fellas. I am Jeff Tucker. This is the claw necklace, the Darth Vader necklace, and of course the soil from Dracula's castle, not his cave. He lives in a castle, Jeff. And this is 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?